just how everything like is literally perfect. Like it all comes together. Like not if one thing was off, we probably would not be able to live on this planet.
Yeah.
Like science didn't do that. Like, and also the way that we put our trust into like these random things like time zones. Who told you that this was the correct time? Oh, the sun. Okay, well, how do you know the sun? Like, we rely on these very odd things.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? And then, like, also about the BLM and then the prosecution of Christians. Someone was talking about BLM, and they were arguing, basically saying, like, God would say, all lives matter and not BLM. And I think people's problem is like, imagine you have.
I don't think he'd say any of it.
I know
think he would preach the gospel.
People try to put like this narrative on him, like,
yeah.
Who are you? But
like he would say, all y'all need me.
Right.
Come follow me and repent for whatever you're thinking right now.
I think that like, what's it called? That's like me going to a horse barn and there's albino horses, right? And albino horses are in danger. The rest of the horses, they're in danger, you know, whatever, because they're a horse.
Right.
But why would I say horses' lives matter when it's this one specific horse that's mainly having issues? Like, I feel like white people just have certain pride that's like, BLM is bad or da-da-da-da-da, but like, why would we say all lives matter when, like, of course Muslims suffer, Hispanics suffer, whatever, but it's not, all lives matter isn't pointing out the problem that we have in America. Like,
exactly.
Like, it literally makes, if we all go around chanting all lives matter, how are we going to know to donate to this community?
How are we going to fix this specific situation?
Like, why do they get so, like, that just shows how, like, built up they are in their self-conscious pride.
Yeah.
And then someone was talking about social classes and stuff like that. And I read this one white older lady's comment, and she was like, you know, there's no such thing as, you know, white privilege. And I was like, if there was no such thing as white privilege and things like that, then why were the light skins working in the house and the black people in the field? Privilege has been installed by our color since day one. Yeah. So why did
in the Bible, Song of Solomon, don't look on me because my skin is dark. My brothers made me till the ground outside. Like, but he loved her, and he was from a different tribe, different race, but he loved her.
That's so sad.
It's my favorite book in the Bible. I love it.
Dang.
It's so beautiful.
But like, it's almost as if sometimes they don't even use common sense. Y'all might be smart with the politics, but when it comes to that white pride,
they made that stuff. They created the political arena here.
They get so mad. Like, it's not, privilege is not gonna disappear suddenly. Just like racism. Why do you think people are racist? They're racist because they don't like your color. Why don't they like your color? Because they don't think you're worth it. Because they degrade you. It's literally logic. Like, you have to be like mentally underdeveloped if you don't understand that logic. Like, it's right there. And then they use these dumb examples like, well, this white girl was murdered. So are we going to say white lives matter? Let's look at the case. Let's look at what happened. Was it because of her color? We're not invalidating her death at all. Right. We're just talking about the color issues in America.
Right. Like, yeah. Like, and I did a paper on that, on something like that. And it's like, it was proving that people, like, if a white girl had got murdered versus like a black girl or black person being murdered, the person who did the murder, they would go after that person more if it was a white person to seek justice for the white person, whereas for the black girl or black boy who got murdered, they would kind of brush it under the rug. Yeah, and they do that with a lot of cases that no one speaks on. Like, there's especially on death row, it upsets me, bro. Roe.
Roe? Oh. I did not know that. Oh.
It's alright.
This, one Republican was like, our tax money is going to them anyways. We're feeding them. So yeah, they deserve to die. Well, let's look at the justice system. Let's look at the jails. Your money, your tax money is barely giving them food. And if anything, it's giving them crappy food.
Yeah.
And not to say that they deserve a steak, but it's like, what makes you think, like, just because your mistake wasn't caught or just because your mistake was forgiven doesn't mean you invalidate someone else. Like, and especially half of these people are claiming that they're Christians, saying death row, like a lot of those certain Republicans, and it's like, when did you become? Who are you to say the death?
Right.
Because when you were little, if you were to hit a kid in school, your mom would forgive you, whatever. But when you constantly
still get in trouble,
right? Like, you're not, just because someone drunk driving, okay? Like, oh, that's another thing. Is Biden, since we can't go out and like buy guns as much because of our pandemic, there's this website where you buy like ammunition, and ammunition is so much money right now. But it asks you if you voted for Biden or not. And if you click yes, it's literally a plan of how he's going to get rid of the guns. 73 million people in America have guns. They're registered to have guns. So 73 million people, what are you going to do? Bring in the military? Because people aren't just going to hand you their guns. People paid classes. People paid money. People aren't going to hand you your guns. That's 73 million people.
Yeah.
So
how many, I wonder how many people got killed in the Holocaust. It was millions. But it wasn't 73 million. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah. Like,
because I'm like, anything is possible.
At this point, yeah, like what? That makes that's scary. If 73 million people own guns in America, you're gonna have to do a lot of work to get rid of it. And they're so focused on guns, and they want to take guns away because guns kill you. Drinking kills you.
Right.
Obesity kills you. Look at what you're putting in our food.
Right. And they want to give us corona shots instead of telling us how to eat healthy.
Right.
That's what G. Craig, I was just listening to part of his sermon. He's like, not once have they said to eat healthier to boost your immune system. And he's like, if I lack something, I take more vitamin C, more vitamin D, more zinc, more whatever. And, he was like, when you start feeling sick, don't eat that cheese omelet. Right. He's like, don't eat that bowl of Fruit Loops. He's like, it should be called sugar something. Exactly.
Why are you so, and guns do not kill people, it's the people that have guns.
Exactly.
Like, just like food does not kill you, it's you, it's how you're taking it in your body, it's how much you're feeding into your body. And if guns kill you, then we need to get rid of weed. Oh, but it helps people. Guns help people too. Y'all love the girl that just got raped and murdered by a police. That was an officer. He had a gun. Like, anyone with the hands of a gun can do anything, whether you're authority like a policeman or in the U.S. Army. There was a man in the Army that went to the Army and just wanted to go because of the guns. I forget his name. It was years ago. Like, there's so many cases. Like, are people that dumb? Like, the government installed drugs into the black community. Why don't you get the drugs out of communities?
Right.
Why don't you do that? But
now it's crept into the white community.
Right.
In
the white community, they just have the good stuff, okay? Okay.
The good drugs.
The black community, they have
the more expensive drugs.
Yeah, the black community has the coke. The white people have the cocaine. They have the better version of everything.
That's hilarious.
Okay? Like, and that's crazy how kids are, like, how easy it's, like, able to access these certain things. Like, it's not hard to ask someone for a gun in our school. You just ask them for a gun and you give them money.
That's so crazy.
Like, why don't you just put a little more restriction? Like, you can go into a pawn shop and buy a gun, basically. Like, why don't you it's almost as if they had this agenda of, like, let's make it a little easy for them to get the guns, and then let's just snatch it away. Because why would they even think in their mind to make it easy for people to have access to guns, knowing that guns can kill? You can go into
you have to just think about how it started, like, back in the day. I don't even know how. I know, okay, when I watch my show, it's based out of the 1800s. Mm-hmm. I think people had guns because, like, they had to kill food and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I remember them, once they established the government here and it started getting stronger, they even had to give up some of their stuff like that. What am I thinking of? I'm trying to think. Okay, I can't remember exactly, but they were doing stuff that they do now. And I was just like, huh. But, like, even though they tried to take away some of their freedoms, from that time, they've grown. Like, the people have won. We still have overcome that. So it's been a battle. It's been an ongoing battle.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
I just think people take their trauma and other stories the wrong, like, certain ways. Like, I mean, like, you see, I see a lot of Black Lives Matter people that are Democrats, and they don't like guns, and they think about the story about that boy in Cleveland that had a BB gun, or it was a fake gun, but it looked like a real one, and the cop shot him. Okay, well, don't buy your kid a gun. Buy them a Nerf gun. It's colorful.
Exactly.
And if a cop were to see that, then you better sue that cop or something, because then the cop's just dumb. Like, they're like, why would you even want to give a kid a real gun? What was the point of that?
Yeah.
Like, you just need to be smart with it. Don't be so ignorant and gullible into things. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. So, okay, I've been trying to find the scripture, like, almost the whole time that we've been talking, and I finally found it.
What?
I think God was like, all right, now I want you to find it. So, in the beginning, you were talking about, like, science and creation, and you're like, everything is made perfect. Like, and so it reminded me of the scripture I was reading yesterday, Psalms 19. And it says, I won't read the whole thing, but just, like, the first 6 scriptures. For the heavens declare the glory of the Lord, and the expanse proclaims the work of his hands. Day after day they pour out speech. Night after night they communicate knowledge. There is no speech. There are no words. Their voice is not heard. Their message has gone out to the whole earth, and their words to the ends of the world. In the heavens he has pitched a tent for the sun. Okay, this is it. In the heavens he has pitched a tent for the sun. It's like a bridegroom coming from his home. It rejoices like an athlete running a course. It rises from one end of the heavens and circles to the other end. Nothing is hidden from its heat. And that, like, it just reminded me of, like, the time. Because actually, let me see. I thought it said something more about time, but, like, when you're talking about the sun, it rides from one end of the heavens and circles to the other end. Nothing is hidden from its heat. Like, if we didn't have the sun, the whole world, like, we wouldn't even be able to survive, because the sun, it warms the earth. Even at nighttime, it's still warming the whole earth or something.
Yeah.
And, that speaks of time, because it goes from one end of the earth to the next. So that's, 24 hours or something? And it's like, this is a Psalm of David, and he's just declaring, like, creation, like, what God did. Like, he did this. And the heavens declare the glory of God, it says. The work of his hands, day after day. Heaven is pouring out their speech, night after night. What can we say?
Yeah.
God is
that's
glorified.
so. And I literally just don't think people are ready. Like, just seeing the way certain people downplay God, it's so embarrassing. Like, the lack of respect. Like, you don't even have to believe, but for people to, like, hear certain stories of what God has done, like I said, you don't have to believe. You better have some fear in your heart.
Yeah.
for something like for these people to either experience hell, you don't gotta believe in hell, but for you to just, I don't know, have it in the back of your mind. There's this one Christian dude who made this TikTok, and he was like, you know, what would you do if Jesus came back now? Like, what do you think you would do?
Who said this?
This guy named David Lightning.
You said he was an atheist?
Christian.
Oh, he's a Christian. Okay.
Yeah, and this one girl said the most, I can't even repeat what she said, but she basically said, I like me a good Jewish boy in bed.
Wow.
You would say that about a God?
Wow.
Like, you're disgusting. Like, what in the world is wrong with you?
Wow.
Like,
wow.
And then she, of course, tries to mingle her way out of it. Well, don't you guys call him your father? Don't you say you guys marry him? Well, there's boundaries, babe.
Right? It's a, I forget, it's a metaphor. It doesn't mean we do the same things.
It's just a title.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, we marry him. We don't go.
We marry him in a different way. It's like a spiritual way. It's like
it is a spiritual way, but also like with the Jewish weddings, like the groom, the bride would have to be ready for her groom, and she would see him from far off coming, and she would not know when he was going to come. And so then her bridesmaids or people would see he's coming, because they would see him coming in the distance. And so it's like, that's why God uses, it's the Jewish analogy of a wedding. Like, you know, I'm going away, but I'm going to come back and get you. Yeah. You don't know when I'm coming, but you must always be ready. So that bride had to be ready and in her dress by the time he got there. So it's literally a traditional thing in the Jewish community or something. Yeah. So.
And I also find it so cool how, like, you can correlate things with the world with, like, what, like, God says, like, using, like, a normal person logic, and then, like, putting it with God's word. Like, someone had said, obviously you have to use your discernment depending on what situation, but someone said your teacher is always silent while you're doing a test. So why would God be all up in your face? He didn't leave you. Yeah. He's testing you. Obviously use your discernment, because if you sin, maybe something is having you apart. Yeah. But if you know you're on the right track or something, you know, use your contact clues. But people just are using these really smart analogies that make perfect sense. Like, and also just like, you can believe in anything you want, but just the Bible just makes sense. And you just have to, like, I don't know, like, I just wish people, like, could, like, if you look at the motive out of every other religion, it's to be satisfied, it's to be validated, like I said. Yeah. So you have Buddhism, it's to be peaceful, it's to be da-da-da-da-da. And then you have manifestation, which comes in, like, the New Age, witchcraft type thing.
Yeah, they want a feeling. They want to have like a tangible experience. Right.
They want to have something
to grasp on. Side note, that's all in Bethel Church. I already knew this like a couple years ago, because a girl that was in the Bethel school made a YouTube video exposing Bethel. Oh. They have witchcraft in their church, and if you see like how they proclaim that it's God's Holy Spirit, you can tell that it's not manifestations of God, but it's literally witchcraft. People are not being delivered, but they're like shaking and doing all these weird things. But instead of having deliverance with it, they stay in that state of mind. Yeah, so everybody beware of Bethel teachings, all that stuff. And they do like these card readings, and it's not. Yeah, exactly. They tell your future, but they try to say it's prophetic teaching. But they're trying to tell you about a future event or thing or person in your life. But that's what psychics do. But prophecy is supposed to be more
God, on God's time.
Exactly. Like, you can't just be like, okay,
pull this card out.
You can practice prophecy by saying, all right, Lord, give me a prophetic word for this person if you wish. But you can't be like, oh, let me tell them about their future, this, and that. No, like, God gives the word. God is the one who does that. So, yeah, that was a side note. I had to say that because I was watching it last night because I was like, I need to listen to this because people are following Bill Johnson, and, you know, I knew that 2 years ago it wasn't a good thing, but I'm revisiting it now.
But, like, that's just so cool. I mean, well, outside of New Age spirituality, whatever, they're always looking to, like, find something, find their innerness. And, like, some things, like, what they say will make sense, but it doesn't it makes temporary sense, not eternal sense.
Yeah.
So, I saw this one girl's video about, like, the world being like a simulation, and it was like these government files about how, you know, they use phones, they use these different tactics to put our minds in certain states. Music industry, what do you have in the music industry? You have a whole bunch of demonic pedos and weird people, and then you're putting it into your ears, your spiritual, it's going in you, like, that's what you're hearing.
And then you walk around and you see people, like, on the streets singing all these songs and with earphones. Like, you made me think of this kid. It was this white boy, maybe like in his 20s, and he was walking down the street. And usually I'll see more like black kids do this, but this was a white kid. Well, he was 20, but he was so, like, he looked like one of those kids that would shoot up a school. But he had, like, these headphones in, and he had a smile on his face, like he was, like, happy. And in my mind, I was like, this is a false happiness that he has from this music, because I bet you he's not happy in real life. I bet you he doesn't have the joy of the Lord. I was like, I feel so bad for him and all the other kids that I see like that. It is this, like, a simulation.
Yeah, it's literally like, it's like people, like, build up their beliefs and their pride off of zodiac signs, off of what Mother Nature tells you. Like, it's like, it's funny because you'll hear them and they'll be like, I can do anything I want, but then turn back to zodiac signs.
Yeah.
No, what happened to you can do anything you want? Or they'll be like, I can manifest anything I want. Then why do bad things happen to people? That's what you say to God, right? You can manifest anything you want, right? Then you do that. You manifest anything you want. Let that happen. Or it's funny because a lot of kids are getting into witchcraft now, and it's like this easy witchcraft. It's like you write a little note, you burn it, you take the ashes, put it in a jar, and dig it up. And then suddenly the guy that you like texts you, but now he's becoming obsessive over you because you guys aren't doing this lovely witchcraft that you guys love. Right, you're not, it's turning back on you, right? Because it's not for you.
Right, exactly.
Like, they built their understandings on these worldly things, and then they're like it's just funny because you can have happiness, but happiness and joy are two different things. Happiness is temporary, joy is forever.
Right.
Joy is through God.
No matter what circumstance you're in, you can have the joy of the Lord. Like, you're being persecuted, I still rejoice in the Lord. Like, you know, it's not temporary.
It's just so interesting using their own logic against them because they're just not smart at all. Like, it's literally just hilarious. Just being able to kind of, like, use what they say. Like they'll literally say one thing but mean another. And they're becoming so accepting of everything. And they're trying to change everything. Harry Styles wears a dress. Well, why isn't that masculine? How is that not masculine? Girl, would you go out in a dress trying to garden? No, you wouldn't do that. Would you go out trying to chop wood? No, you would probably wear boots and some, like, it's not, I'm using your own logic against you because your logic doesn't even make sense. Like,
that's funny.
And why do they you guys say you don't need acceptance, but you get so mad when someone goes against something.
Yeah, when your stuff is not accepted. Yeah.
What happens to not caring? You're a Taurus, you don't care, right? You don't care. You don't care.
Both my parents are Tauruses, by the way.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
That's funny.
I just wish people, like, I don't know, it's like they're on this search for something and they're never gonna find it.
Yeah, and you know what that brings me back to? The church is the one to blame. Like, I mean, we always need someone to blame, and that's the thing. The church hasn't held up its end of the bargain, I'll just say. You know, like, people are searching for an experience. Well, there's no experiences in the church. There's just a whole bunch of judgmental people who point out people's flaws instead of pointing people to Jesus, who's the one who changes people's flaws. So it's like, you know, the Bible says, judgment starts at the house of God. What are we doing? Like, we need to correct what we've been doing in churches and all across the board so that we can preach the gospel. We can heal the sick. We can lay hands on people and they'll be delivered and experience God and experience radical meetings and stuff with Jesus, even in our own homes. Like,
yeah, I feel so bad for people because they're just so like confused. Like, just the LGBT community is such a big example because there was this one debate and it was this girl, she was mixed, talking to a black man, and she said, do you identify as black? And he laughed in her face and was like, I'm black. and she was like, everyone was laughing because they're all Republicans, and you know, they're just like, girl, duh, like, that's what he is. And she was like, no, I'm being serious. And it's just like, they try to change everything.
Yeah.
Like, you can't you can't change your race. Yeah, you can lighten your skin, but like, it's just so funny. Like, I just wish people were smart. That's a little smart.
All I know is I'm not gonna not say he and she. I will always say he and she.
Yeah. What are you gonna call a dog? Non-binary? It's a dog.
Right. Like, for them to make puppies, they have to be a male and female.
Jada, come.
Scientifically.
Right, y'all love science when it was not proving God, right? But suddenly science doesn't matter. Like, that's one thing I never understood. They relied so much on science when it came to proving that God didn't exist, but science definitely backfired when all y'all wanted to be trans. Because you can't even change your genetics.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
What in the world? And also, y'all, like, the whole wearing a mask, it's just lowering your immune system. And that's just common sense. You don't even have to be wearing a mask, but if you're constantly a person that stays inside, what are you doing? You're lowering your immune system, whether there's a pandemic or not. Yeah. So how can it's like a battle. You get trained, you get beat before you go out there, right? So you can withstand, so you can grow stronger.
Right.
Like, it's common sense. You guys just listen to the government and listen to anything you want. That's another thing. Ever since that guy had raped and killed that girl, suddenly they don't like the police anymore, or they don't like guys anymore because,
eye roll.
I know. Statistics, it's 97% of men are the ones that rape. Not to say that girls don't, but it's mainly men.
Yeah.
And a guy was breaking it down. He was like, mentally, guys are just more sex-driven. Mentally, like, it's just normal. Like, it's a statistic that guys are just more sex-driven. So people were just like, we just need to get rid of guys, or da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, you get rid of guys, or you guys hate guys so much because they put you through so much trauma. But are y'all gonna go shovel the snow?
Exactly.
Who's gonna fix your car? Not to say you can't before you start whining about invalidation.
Right.
But you guys weren't taught this. You guys weren't, like, wasn't your role. And if you look at these roles, they make more sense. Girls are naturally more emotional. Girls are naturally just more emotional. That's why they nurture.
It's scientific.
That's why they stay in the house mainly. That's why they cook. That's why they take care of the kids. And the guy would go out to war because he's physically and mentally more stronger.
More testosterone. Sense. You can build muscle faster when you're a man. You burn your calories faster when you're a man, or whatever. I might be saying that scientifically wrong, but I'm still
It makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, like that's genetics.
Like, what in the world is wrong with people?
I know.
Like, I just can't get, like, people try so hard for everything to be accepted. And suddenly, y'all, like, another thing is how they don't respect Christianity or other things like that. But are we not going to talk about how Islamic women are forced to wear these hijabs?
Mm-hmm.
Are we not going to talk about how many times they get raped and beaten, or these 9-year-olds are getting married to 47-year-old grown man, but you're focused on Christianity because they won't accept you for you being gay?
Right. I used to post that stuff all the time, like the child brides and even the Muslim women. Like, I know some of them, they'll say, I wear this voluntarily and blah, 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 and I respect my God.
But that's because your beliefs.
Exactly.
That's because it's been installed in you.
Exactly. And it's not the truth, and you're just under a lie, and you don't know that you're being oppressed, because when you're in a relationship that is oppressive, you just don't know any better. Like, that's where you're at. And so, yeah, when I used to see those women go into, like, Meijer, it's a store, for those of you who don't know, Meijer, like, I would be so sad because the only thing you could see is their eyeballs, you know? And I'm just like...
And they did that
she knew she was beautiful. Yeah, because they're so...
sex-driven.
I was going to say. Yeah, exactly. Like, so, dude, just because her arm's out, will you lust after her arm?
Right.
Like, you lust after people's toes, too? They weren't sandals. Like, that means you nasty and you need to go somewhere.
Yeah, like that. Why don't you guys focus on that?
Exactly.
Why, like, it's just funny. You want to be accepted so bad. Why can't you just be loved or just respected? Like, not everything needs to be accepted. And the more y'all start to disrespect authority, like, why are you trying to get rid of the cops? Because that's what you called the cops and firemen when your house is on fire.
Exactly.
But, like, I mean, yes, there are bad cops, and yes, we need to establish a new system for sure. But, okay, what are you gonna... and then they want to, like, just talk about how we can't have guns. Okay, what about the army? They have huge guns, but that's because they're over there overseas. Those are our enemies. Well, guess what? There's innocent kids being killed, right? Remember that there's innocent kids being killed by those guns still. Yeah. So why don't we just wipe it all out?
And actually, as you know, just some inner, what do you call it? Info. I can't think of the word.
Source.
But,
Source.
Intel info says that actually there's more enemies on our soil than anything.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. So we got enemies all around us here in America.
Yeah.
So
we just don't pay, like, it's almost as if people don't have their own mind.
Yeah.
Like, people really let, like, if it sounds good, people don't even look into it. Y'all ran with Biden. He promised he was going to give you that stimmy check in January.
You ain't got it yet.
Where is it? Where is
March.
it? Oh, yeah, and parents, you're on the only reason why you're getting it because you're kids, so we get half. Let me tell you.
You got a roof over your head, child.
Like, isn't that... And another thing is world debt. Are we not going to talk about how weird that is? There is a world debt. There's a percentage for the entire world that we owe. Who do we owe? The world?
That's hilarious.
The soil?
The aliens, Amora.
Like, that is so weird. Like, who do we owe?
Well,
that
praise
makes
God.
no
Jesus
sense.
paid it all for us.
Like,
he died on the cross. He paid it all. Thank you, Jesus.
Like, that's creepy. Oh, yeah, and there's, like, these bunkers in Wyoming that all the rich people have. It's so nice in there.
Well.
bunkers.
Yeah, if there's a world catastrophe like that, I'd just rather just die immediately.
Right. Who wants to go back out and see what's
Exactly.
out there?
No thanks. I'll just be in heaven.
And how do you know if
Jesus.
it's unsafe? Like, how do you know if it's like okay? Like,
Yeah.
too much work. They be thirsty to live and keep their money alive.
I know. Like, how about your eternal soul? Let's just focus on that. Yeah. Our life is but a vapor. It doesn't last very long anyway, so.
Yeah.
Eternity is so much longer than our lives on earth.
Yeah.
So, on that note, I guess we'll be wrapping it up.
I guess. Can you make me a cup of coffee?
Sure. I hope you guys enjoyed our impromptu coffee talk time with Amora. I'm on my second cup of coffee, and
You're on the second?
yeah, I don't even do that, but with these little K-pods, the coffee is just not as good as some fresh brewed, strong coffee.
You guys really need to get an espresso machine.
That'd be nice. But yeah, so until next time, guys, have a blessed day.